Whoever this reading is for, you could have recently walked away from something or someone or a group of people. But either way, you guys walked away from the past. You left behind something that was no longer serving you. It wasn't feeding your soul. It wasn't allowing you to grow, allowing you to evolve. For some of you guys, you could have walked away from karmic energies. These are people who were unhealed, people who are operating out of their shadow aspects, their lower nature. These energies were very much unaware of self, very much unaware of their true potential. They could have been playing out karmic patterns, being very toxic. And these are the energies that you guys have left behind in the past. A lot of these people were wearing a mask. They were very much fake. A lot of these people weren't even who you thought they were. They will present themselves to you one way, but behind your back, they would be a completely different way. A lot of these people were trying to portray themselves a certain way towards you, like they're a good person, like they have your best interest, right? But behind your back, they were living a completely different life. And you could have dealt with someone like that. You could have dealt with multiple people like that, actually. Maybe it was coworkers in the workplace, romantic situations, friendships, or fake friendships, actually, because a real friendship, obviously, you wouldn't be in this energy, but you guys could have dealt with a lot of fake friendships. And all of these energies were karmics. They were operating from a very low level of consciousness. They were very much unaware of self, very much unaware of their true divinity. And of course, when someone is unaware of their divinity, how can you expect them to also notice your divinity, right? But you guys chose to walk away very peacefully from these energies. And you turned your back and you decided to go on to bigger and better things. You guys are now in the energy of healing. You're healing from whatever trauma that these energies put you through. You're healing from whatever conflict there might have been. And you're also healing from the idea that you have to prove anything to these people because you have nothing to prove. A lot of these energies weren't even real to begin with. It's like you guys were showing up as a very real and authentic person. You were showing up completely unmasked, showing up as your authentic, true self, and the entire time they were wearing a mask with you. And it may have hurt a little when you realized this because you actually cared about them. But in the end, you had to choose yourself and you walked away. Now you're in this energy of healing. You're doing reflection. You're taking time for yourself. You may not really be going out as much. Maybe you guys are just really spending more time with self, healing your own energy, focusing on what feels good for you. You guys are now in this energy of harmony. And I'm going to read this card. You need to take time to recharge your energy to get back on track. Challenges ahead require you to have faith and breakthrough. Yeah, so there's this energy of you guys now focusing on the future. We have this energy twice in two different decks here. This is the energy of focusing on the future, letting go of the past, letting go of past energies, releasing the baggage, releasing what no longer serves you, releasing past people, past energies, karmic energies. And you guys completely have your back turned away from the past. You guys are not focusing on what's coming in. What are the opportunities that are coming in for me? What's on the horizon? And you guys have so much in store for you. It only requires that you stop facing the past. Because if this person turns around to look back where they came from, then they're going to miss all these opportunities, all these ships that are coming in for them. So there's a message here to stop looking back, stop going back to the past. You've already been down that route before. You already know what's there. You already know what to expect. It's never going to change. This is what's in the past. Karmic energies. People hiding who they really are, masking their true intentions here. It's never going to change. And so there's really no need for you to keep looking back, to keep checking to see, well, have they changed? Has maybe if I give them another chance, it's never going to change. And so this energy, you're being called to step into the Three of Wands energy. This is leaving the past behind, facing towards the future, waiting for new opportunities to come in. You guys are being called to learn from the past, learn from past failures, learn from your mistakes, learn from these energies that you guys have dealt with. Because while a lot of the people you may have dealt with in the past, it may have been very painful, but you guys are being called to learn from it, to not allow it to make you bitter, to not allow what you've gone through with these karmic energies to harden your heart or to make you feel like there's something wrong with you or you're not good enough. You're being called to be wise, to learn from this, and to readjust how you're going to be able to move forward from now on. So now that you know what doesn't work, it also means that you know what does work, right? Because you can't have one without the other. It's two sides of the same coin. So if you know that something doesn't work, then you know that the opposite will probably work. So I'm going to read this card. You are called to serve as a mentor for someone or as a role model and guide who can show the way. Use your wisdom and experience. Yeah, for others of you guys, you're also going to be able to guide others along their journeys because you've already been through what they may be going through. So you could also be called at this time to serve as a guide for those who are still walking the path that you have already left. Some of you guys have been through something that you have expertise in. You've survived a storm, and you can now serve as a guiding light, as a light post for those who are still in the eye of the storm. Whatever you went through, it completely transformed you. It completely transformed you. You're not even the same person that you were. You went into the experience dealing with these karmic energies, right? These fake people, these phony people who are masking their true intentions, who are hiding who they really are. You may have went into the experience with these energies very much unaware, and I'm hearing innocent, because you're not the type to go into a situation judging anyone, and maybe in the past you weren't as guarded as you needed to be. Maybe you were just too trusting, and maybe that has backfired. But I'm seeing that whatever you went through, it completely transformed you. You've learned to be more protective of your energy. You've learned to not wear your heart on your sleeve so much, to not be too trusting, because a level of discernment is always required in order for one to protect their energy, because you can't just allow anyone to have access. You would be doing yourself a disservice if you did that. And so you've learned to have a certain level of discernment and to observe individuals before you give too much of yourself. Whereas in the past, you may have really just went all in and you gave so much of yourself before you even qualified if the individual actually deserved to be a part of your energy, your life. You gave so much of yourself. And I just saw 1111 on the timer. So that could be significant for someone. You guys could be seeing 1111. That's a confirmation. But you guys gave too much of yourself. You gave so much without ever actually discerning if whoever was on the receiving end of that, if they even deserved it. But that version of you is dead. It has died. Time has run out here. The time has run out on this old version of you, and now you guys are it's like the phoenix rising from the ashes. This is the old version of you. It's dead. And this is what is being reborn. You're being reborn as this higher, more divine version of yourself. This is your higher self. You guys are embodying your higher self at this time. And you're coming out as being very incredibly wise, because you've learned from your failures, you've learned from the past, you've learned from, even though it may have been very painful that you had to deal with these energies, but on the bright side, it's made you so much wiser than before. Now you understand a lot about people, what they're really like. You understand how fake they can be, and you're not going to wear your heart on your sleeve. You're wise. You've grown. Sometimes sometimes we have to learn through pain. And if there was an easier way, surely everyone would choose that way. But sometimes we learn the best by undergoing painful experiences. And you definitely went through something very painful here. It could have been multiple events that really, it's like every time you uncover the truth about a person that you thought was real, but you found out they were fake, right? It's like it's like you were peeling the layer off, like a snake shedding its skin. But I'm seeing it in the sense of you are shedding who you thought you were. You're shedding your ego in a sense. Every time you uncovered the truth, every time you stopped trying to people please, every time you stood up for yourself, every time you walked away from the past, you were shedding a layer of yourself. You were shedding until finally all that's left is who you really are. And who you thought you were, the ego, is now dead. You're not that, whatever that was. You're not that. You're you. You're who you really are. And if you're not in this energy yet, you're actively being transformed at this time, and you're coming into this energy. So if you're trying to show up in the world as a people pleaser, as someone who maybe you wanted to be liked, maybe you wanted to be accepted, and so you were trying to mold yourself into this identity that you thought you had to be, And that right there was your ego. That was not who you really were. And so the more you let go of that, the more you shed that layer of yourself, and you stopped trying to wear a mask to be accepted by all of these karmic energies who didn't even care to begin with. The more you stop trying to become something you're not to be accepted, the more you were shedding that layer of yourself. You were shedding until finally all there's left is beauty, divinity, sovereignty. This is who you really are at the deepest level. You are this radiant, magical being, but you are trying to fit into this little small identity that the world had tried to assign you. And you felt like you had to stick to that role so you could be accepted. But you never had to do that. And so all of these painful lessons that you went through, it was all to get you to shed this ego, to shed this false identity of who you thought you were. And now you're ready to face towards the future. You're ready to come into a period of harmony in your life. And now that you've shed everything that was not who you really were, you've shed the fake people, you've shed the karmics, right? You've shed the fake coworkers, the fake love interests, fake friends, and you've also shed the mask that you were trying to wear. You've shed the ego, you've shed who you thought you needed to be, how you needed to appear in the world to be accepted. You shed that version of yourself. And now it's like, in a way, you have made space within yourself. You have come into a period of balance and harmony. And now what you will be attracting into your life now is only going to be a reflection of this internal harmony that you have cultivated within yourself. Because the outer reality is simply a reflection of the internal reality. And so if internally you are at peace with yourself, you're balanced, you've accepted who you really are, then naturally you can only draw that back to yourself in the external reality. And so moving forward, you're going to start seeing that the new people who come into your life, the new opportunities, the new environments that you find yourself in, they're going to be in this energy. It's going to be very much harmonious. You guys are attracting harmonious relationships into your life at this time. You're attracting harmonious working environments, harmonious co-workers. You're not going to have to deal with any of this fake stuff because you already shed that. It's gone. It's in the past. It's dead. So moving forward, you're not going to have to worry about, am I ever going to run into these energies again? Is because you guys don't want to have to deal with that anymore. You've already been down that road. I was trying to say route and road, but I ended up combining the two. But you're not going to have to deal with that anymore because you've already shed all of that. You've left it behind in the past. You're now in this energy of the Three of Wands. You're ready to expand, grow to new horizons. You're ready for your ships to come in. You've turned your back on the past. You're not focusing on the past. And you're certainly being advised not to focus on the past if you still find yourself turning back around to peek over your shoulder, wanting to see what happens, and maybe they've changed. No, they will never change. It's time to fully face the future and stop looking behind your shoulders because there's nothing there. Whatever is there, you've already seen it. You've already been down that road. Nothing would have changed. You're now attracting harmonious connections, harmonious work situations, harmonious whatever is going to show up in your external reality moving forward. is going to be in this energy, because you have done the work, and now your outer reality will start to mirror back to you what you have cultivated within yourself and your internal reality. And you're almost there with this 10 of Wands. It's been a long journey. It's been a battle. You may have felt like you were climbing this mountain and you were just wondering, when is this gonna end? You know, I've been climbing this mountain for some of you guys, you've been on this journey of healing, of reclaiming your inner sovereignty. You may have been on this journey for up to 10 years. This may have been a very painful, difficult cycle, a very harsh, but in a sense, it's almost like the things that broke your heart actually ended up fixing your vision. So a lot of things in the past, a lot of people may have broken your heart. It actually fixed your vision. It showed you the true nature of reality. It showed you what the world was really like, what people were really like. And so now you don't have to live in an illusion, because you see people for exactly what they are. You see how fake they can be. So you don't have to walk around living in an illusion, because you've already seen the truth. Your vision is now cleared. But you've been on this journey for a long time. And you're almost there. You're almost there. Just a few more inches. You can almost reach out and touch the goal, touch the finish line. You're being called to, now is not the time to give up. Now is not the time to collapse. Now is not the time to feel worn out. You may feel worn out, but the thing is whether you're going to act on it or not. Are you going to drop everything because you feel tired, or are you going to learn to rest and take a break, get up and keep going? Because it doesn't matter if you're tired. It's understand, of course you would be tired. Look at, you've been on this crazy journey, carrying all these burdens, these challenges, these baggages that weren't even yours. You may have been carrying other people's baggages and carrying it as your own. So of course it was tiring. Of course you're exhausted. It would be kind of weird if you weren't, because it would mean you're like a robot or something. But of course you're tired. You have every right to be exhausted, because you've been through it. But when you're tired, learn to rest, not quit. You can take a break, but think about how far you've been. And for you to give up now, it's like, what would all of it have been for? All the pain, all the challenges, all the sleepless nights, the heartache, everything you've been through, what would it have been for if you just give up now? You're so close to the finish line. You're so close to victory. And all you have to do is just persist. Just keep going. Just keep persisting. You're so close. Now is not the time to give up. Because what's coming in for you guys, so the energies is very, very healing, renewal. You guys will feel a sense of vitality, a sense of energy, of a sense of life coming back to you. The challenges you've undergone, you may have really felt like it drained your energy, like you had no energy left to maybe do the things that you once used to love. Maybe you felt like you were tired all the time, or you just didn't have the energy to do anything anymore. And that's because you were carrying a lot of burdens. But when you're tired, learn to rest, not quit. And I see success in the near horizon if you simply persist, if you keep going. Now, this is going to depend on what action you take from this point forward, because you are a being of free will. And so it is going to depend on what you do from this point forward. But if you persist, if you don't give up, yes, absolutely, success is on the horizon. Absolutely. But if you give up now, then it is your choice. And when you reach that level of success, victory, when you get to the place that was prepared for you, a lot of people from the past are going to start showing back up. Flashback. People from the past return. You may work with a previous coworker or take back an old job, you get a second chance. What I'm really getting with this is a lot of people from the past are going to try to come back into your life once you elevate, once you level up, because I do see a level up occurring. You guys are currently going through this process, it's underway. You're flowing with this process, and it may be very uncomfortable right now, but change is always uncomfortable. But when you reach that next level, a lot of people from your past are going to start showing up. They're going to rekindle things. They're going to want to hang out. They're going to want to mend the relationship. But you have to ask yourself, why are they coming in now? Because that says a lot, doesn't it? It truly says a lot. Why are they now coming in? So you're going to have to ask yourself, do you want these people back in your life? Because I do see the past spinning the block, coming back around. Once you reach this next level, once you level up, but they're not coming in for the right intentions. Because if they truly wanted to be your friend, if they truly wanted to be your lover, if they truly wanted to be in your life, if they truly wanted you to work for their company, then they would have done so when they had the opportunity, right? So you're going to have to ask yourself, why are they coming back now? What is the purpose behind this?